Welcome back to Market Day Report. Mark Oppold as we continue through this Monday crop report coming out tomorrow. So it's a pre-crop report day. Welcome to Market Day Report. And we welcome Dewey Strickler to our program each and every Monday at this time, getting us started for the week. Dewey, Happy New Year. I haven't talked to you since before the holidays. So hope it was a great one for the Strickler family.
Yes, it was, Mark. It's been a while since we have.
Absolutely. Well, what a time for us to get back together here with all that's going on in these markets here. Crop report tomorrow. Wow. Talk about a crop report. All of them are important. It seems like every month. But wow, you get into this January report and you have the production numbers, stocks numbers, quarterly numbers. Let's kind of put it all together and kind of sort out what Dewey Strickler is looking for most all tomorrow above all else.
Well, first of all, Mark, it's rather unusual. The trade is not looking for very much in the way of production changes, yield changes, harvested acres, and so forth from last month. But, what I've told AgWatch clients is that you got to keep in mind the January report does have a history of creating volatility. So if USDA decides to slip one in here, it wouldn't surprise me at all. So just let's say keep your radar out on high alert.
And that's what the trade looks like. That's what they're doing as well here today. Do you agree as we start the day?
Yeah, I think so. We had a nice recovery on Friday. Looks like we're giving some of that back here right now. And of course, I'll be looking to see where the market closes here. I think the corn market is trying to sniff out a bottom here, but we may have one more leg lower, small leg lower to go. Thing I'm really watching is the wheat. The wheat has, we have a record short position by the commodity funds here, and the commercials are long a near record position there. So something's going to give here in wheat.
Take a look at the wheat right now. Only down 0.5 cents. We start the day here. Our first look since we opened here at 8:30 Chicago time, down 0.5 cent in Chicago. Let's take a look at 478 on that March wheat. Looking at Kansas City, as long as we're taking a look at wheat, let's just do that. March, they're down over 2 cents here, 470. And the Minneapolis trade early on this Monday, March is currently down 2 cents there as well. So below $5. How important is that in Minneapolis to stay around or above $5, Dewey?
I don't think that the $5 mark really has a big bearing, maybe psychologically here a little bit. I think what you have to look at, as I mentioned, and that is you have quite a bit of extreme between the commodity funds and the commercials as far as their positions. There are complete opposites here, and I've never seen it this wide before.
Yeah, looking at corn, by the way. Again, Dewey Strickler, AgWatch Market Advisors, AgWatch.biz is that website. Corn down, early look here, down nearly 4 cents across the board here, Dewey. As you mentioned, trend following funds already holding near record short positions. A lot of analysts suggest it's going to be hard to press this market a whole lot lower. What do you think?
I think the corn market could go down and make one more low here, and I think this could be the final low that we see in this long-term sell-off that began here back in July. I've had targets on the March contract in the vicinity of about 343 to 338, and I still think they're doable, maybe this week sometime.
Very good, and that leaves us looking at the bean complex here. Just a couple of seconds. We'll take a break here, but beans opening a bit higher here. We did have a sale to China, 120,000 tons, by the way, for viewers and listeners. That was announced, and a 248,000-ton sale to unknown destinations that was announced here about an hour ago.
I don't think the soybean market's going to go much of anywhere. We might get a little bit of a bump up here to about 880. I still look for the March contract to go down and make some new lows, though.
Dewey Strickler, only half done here. Take a break. We'll come back and check that livestock trade. Open here on a Monday, a little bit later than normal, so we'll take a look at what he thinks going on today. Coming back in 1 minute. Welcome back to Market Day Report. We welcome back Dewey Strickler, AgWatch Market Advisors. AgWatch.biz is that website. Lots of great information there, Dewey. We turn to you or look at the livestock trade. Normally we're open and trading Tuesday through Friday, but not on a Monday. Have a few more minutes before we open the trade today. Looks like the cattle trade, most analysts suggest, could see a little bit of a spurt here. What do you think about that?
Well, you might. I wouldn't be surprised if we open up mixed here. We had low volume of cash trade last week in the cattle market, but the box beef was up higher, and we're looking at our highest level since mid-September, but we're still a little bit overbought technically in the cattle. Eventually, I think we'll see cattle try to work back into about the 131, 130 range here and just go sideways for a while. All
right, well, let's take a look at those live cattle futures as we start the day. This is how we ended heading into the weekend with those live cattle futures. February around 132.80 and down there at 132.35. Talk about February and where if we are going to see a little bit more of a decline there today, where we might find some support, Dewey.
I think you will find a lot of support if we would happen to come down into the gap area that we left here a couple of weeks back at about 128.97. You might see a test of that. We may get close to it, but overall, I think that the market's going to just be content to remain sideways here going forward.
Well, February is already equal value to where the cash is. One would think that traders would say that that would give an indication. And with the low volume last week, don't you think packers are going to need some cattle this week?
I think they'll probably look and sniffing at some cattle here because they certainly didn't buy much last week.
All right, live cattle looking there around 132.80. We'll get around that off here to start the week on the, or that's where we ended last week. Looking at feeder cattle then, Dewey. Feeder cattle leading the way, or are they following live cattle in your view?
Well, I think they're trading more or less somewhat independently of one another. I think the feeder cattle are going to have some support at the gap area basis of March contract at around 4 or 152, and I look for them to stay in a trade range here for a week or two.
March 152, well, 156, that's a little ways down there from where we are right now then.
Yes, it is.
And then the lean hog complex. Again, Dewey Strickler, AgWatch Market Advisors, joining us every Monday. We have lots of new viewers, lots of new listeners. I know not a lot of you got a Sirius XM system for Christmas and able to take us wherever you go. So if you're tuning in on Sirius XM 147, every Monday at this time, Dewey Strickler joining us. It's AgWatch Market Advisors, and the website is AgWatch.biz. All right, lean hogs ending just a bit stronger here. Around that $60 mark here. That seems to be a round number that how important is that for February today?
Well, I think the main thing to look here in the hogs, and that is we had some weather last week, is probably going to slow marketings somewhat. I think you're going to meet some resistance up here at this 61.5 to about 62 area. Wouldn't be surprised here. We don't see a little break eventually down to about 58 or a little bit lower here in the Feb contract.
Well, and you know outside it's cold most everywhere you go. You have to go all the way down to Florida, I believe, before you get some warm weather. So moving hogs is not going to be one of those things today that you move them when you can early on, and then that could also be a market factor. Dewey, thanks. Good to talk to you. And again, Happy New Year to everybody there at AgWatch Market Advisors.
Thanks a lot.
Dewey Strickler here every Monday at this time, so we'll keep an eye on that grain and livestock trade. Again, big day tomorrow in the crop report.
Looking forward to it. Thanks so much, Mark.